Great. Please let me welcome you on our opening webinar on the introduction to gender mainstreaming at local level e-course. Thank you all for taking the time and participate. This webinar's aim is to have an overview of how the process will go on. So I will start. I'm Simra. First of all, I'm a gender project assistant at NALAS. NALAS is the network of associations of local authorities of Southeast Europe. And this is the introductory webinar. More specifically about NALAS, since you know you have been nominated from your associations to take part in this course, NALAS has 14 full members of local government associations and 7 associate members, which represent roughly 9,000 local authorities, which are elected from 18 million citizens. The NALAS's role is to promote decentralization and also strengthen the role of local governments, help citizens receive high-quality services, and help the capacities and build the capacities of the LGAs to promote the same. It also assists the EU integration process. About this course, this is one of the 7 e-learning courses that are offered by the NALAS Academy. This was developed by NALAS, but with the support of the UN Women and GIZ. The objective of this course is to enable participants to act both as individuals, but also as representatives of organizations that work for gender equality. Our target groups are decision makers and practitioners, administrative staff at local level, and also in the local government associations. Before I get into the technicalities of the e-course, I will yield the floor to Mrs. Kristina Vasileva, who is our gender expert and who will also be facilitating this e-course, to touch upon a little bit on the topic of gender, and then we will continue with the technicalities.
Okay. Thank you very much, Simra. I'm just trying to adjust the presentation. Welcome to everybody to this webinar also from my side. As Simra already mentioned, this is the first online course that NALAS is organizing on the topic of gender mainstreaming in local self-government. So I would like to give you just a few, let's say, highlights of the things that we're going to discuss in the e-learning course, which I'm going to be facilitating from the aspect of content. This means that once you enter the gender course and start working on it, you can contact me on any issues that are related to the issue of gender. So why are we talking about gender mainstreaming? Well, first of all, I would like to kind of, I'm sure that most of you know this, but just as a reminder, that what we're talking about when we're talking about gender. So we're talking basically about what are the roles that society is providing for us in everyday life. As you know, when we talk about sex, it means that we refer to biological and physiological characteristics. You know, these are a relatively constant category, and these are what determines the differences between people from birth. You know, what is the first question that people ask when they hear that a baby is born? Can someone tell me? So usually the first question is it a boy or is it a girl, right? And this is based on these biological characteristics. What we are talking about in this course and what we're referring to is gender. And gender refers to the socially constructed roles, these characteristics, positions and activities which society considers adequate for men and women. And in this way determines the relations between them. So it is what the society expects from boys and girls and from men and women. Do you know of any such expectation, for example? Oh, we're also silent. I don't know if you're all silent or I just can't hear you because of the technical issues. Anyway, okay, I see your microphones are all muted, so maybe it's because of that. So, you know, this typical expectation that boys should not cry, right? And the girls, they can cry. So this is what is defined for us as boys and girls and women and men as socially constructed role. So the good thing is that sex is given at birth and gender is acquired through socialization, forming a gender identity. However, the good news is that this gender identity can vary depending on time, on cultures, on geography. You know, there were a time when women did not wear trousers. It was considered inappropriate for women to wear trousers. This changed over time, and now women wear both trousers and skirts and all kinds of other dresses. So gender identity is a set of these socially agreed roles, behaviors, values, actions, attributes which the given society considers adequate for women. So it considers adequate that women should not be smoking, for example. This has also changed over time, and it's acceptable for both women and men to smoke. Actually, it's not acceptable now. It's considered unhealthy. However, there is no gender difference in this sense. So based on these gender identities, people create a certain roles within society. And this, so as you can see from the photo here on the presentation, see it's what are the roles of men that are expected. If you look at this little balloon coming from the blue face, it's expected that they drive, that there's some cars there, some planes, they drive, they fly planes, they fish, they make money, they play video games, they work out, they do sports, they drink. Well, for women, they play tennis and think about holidays and go shopping and cook and look after the children and I don't know, help others. So this is these expectations of men and women in a society, and this can be very normal for people. So this is something very normal because these gender roles are becoming sometimes very stable, and they're stable because they're institutionalized. So how are they institutionalized? They are basically perpetuated over time. So and thus create certain stereotypes. So in this context, stereotypes are basically beliefs of how women and men are. So how they differ between themselves based on their skills, behavior, characteristics. And they're very simplified images of characteristics of all men and all women. It's like, men work, women cook, something like this. And these stereotypes influence people's perception and influence people's behavior. Because when you're expected as a woman to know how to cook, it can influence your behavior to really start to learn, to fulfill your gender role and learn how to cook, even though maybe you hate cooking. So basically, when we're speaking about stereotypes and gender equality, a way to let's say take away these stereotypes is through gender equality. It's basically gender equality represents equal visibility of women and men. So they are visible in, let's say, different levels of politics, in institutions, in different professions, at different levels. It means empowerment. It means that both men and women feel empowered to fulfill their rights. It means equal responsibility. not just rights, it means also responsibility, but taking over responsibilities in society for building society and participation of both sexes in all spheres of public and private life. Basically, it's equal access to and distribution of resources for both between men and women. But it doesn't mean that it's mathematically divided 50-50. It just means that there are differences between women and men. They have different needs and they play diverse roles in society, and it's accepting this diversity and equally valuing it and making interventions wherever there is the need. So gender equality is very much linked to the issue of social justice. And one way to achieve this gender equality is by gender mainstreaming. And this is why the e-course is focused on gender mainstreaming in local governments, because local governments provide an array of services for citizens. And because they're the lowest level of tier of government, they're they're closest to the citizens. And in a way, they have the responsibility for ensuring gender equality, for thinking about how their policies impact both men and women, and trying to modify them in order to fulfill the needs of both men and women. So this is why this is why we're talking about gender mainstreaming and having this course on gender mainstreaming, because it is seen as a strategy towards implementing gender equality. So it means that when you are developing some kind of policy, like designing the policy, implementing the policy, monitoring and evaluating the policy, you are looking through gender perspective. And you are trying to see how this policy impacts men and women, and trying to modify it or improve it to promote equality between women and men, and thus you're combating discrimination. So this is, I think, where I stop, right, Simra? And Simra continues, and I hope that this very brief explanation has raised your interest in the course, and that you will participate in it. There is a lot of space, so to say, for discussion during the course, and I hope that we can have very fruitful discussions on the several topics that are included in the course. So now bye from me, and Simra, you can continue, please.
Thank you, Christina, for sharing this helpful insights with us. As I mentioned before, Ms. Christina Vasileva will be our course facilitator. She's the gender expert who will be providing expert input into your forum discussions, as well as evaluating your performance on the course. Before we continue with the technicalities, please feel free to pose any questions that you might have on the chat while the presentation is ongoing. Why this course? So after hearing what Christina said, and keeping in mind all those insights, as well as the gender infographic that we at NALAS published, we came to data that was not really that cheerful for as far as gender equality goes. One of the key data that we received is that only 8.4% of the mayors in Southeast Europe are women. Only 29.9% of the municipal councils in Southeast Europe are women. Regarding the NALAS member LGAs, 86% of the presidents are men. And in NALAS member LGAs, the administrative staff is predominantly women, respectively 57%. So keeping in mind these data, we think that having these courses is really important in order to achieve gender equality. Regarding the structure of the course, it is organized in 4 modules, and each module lasts for a week. The modules are the following. The first module is Introduction to Gender Equality. The second module is Gender Responsive Budgeting at Local Level. Module 3 focuses on local government associations as promoters of gender equality at local level. And the last but not least module is Best Practices in Promoting Gender Equality at Local Level. The course starts today, 12 February, and it will last until March 12, 2018. We will provide you with a grace period of 2 weeks after 12 March, so you can finish any remaining assignments, but I will send you more details via email. One of the benefits of online learning, if you haven't been part of an online learning so far, it is that it's individually organized, respectively. You do your own readings on your own pace, you organize your timeline, respecting your schedule, and you have interactive learning while reading, watching videos, doing the tasks, and also having the chance to exchange with colleagues and facilitators. We are incorporating blending learning by including webinar. This is the only webinar that we will have, the launching webinar. After this, you will be doing the readings and forum discussions and quizzes on your own pace. The methodology used in this course are individual and facilitated work. Respectively, you have your readings, you have videos, presentations with voiceover, quizzes, and discussion forums. First things first, how to log in. In order for you to log in on this course, you have to visit the nalasacademy.com webpage, respectively with this link. You need to click on Create New Account, fill in the information requested, and send it for verification. After you do all these above mentioned steps, you will get an email with a link to complete your registration. And by doing so, you will enter the course database and have access to the course. After you successfully log in, this is the first page that you will have, the introduction. On the left side of the course, you have the modules. The mid-section is reserved for the content of the course, and on the right side, you have the testimonials and the bibliography for additional information and materials. If you click on the Module 1, Gender Equality at Local Level, the navigation bar is on your left side. You can use it to access different points of the course. The table of contents is on your left side. You can read through by clicking on each of these links, or you can also use the arrows you have on the content itself. On the right side, you can also find the quizzes. You have quizzes at the end of each module, and also the forum discussions. The second module is Gender Responsive Budgeting in the local level. It's the same structure. On the left side, you have the navigation bar. The middle section is for the content. On the right side, you have the table of contents. You have the video with the presentation, as well as the testimonials and the quizzes. This is an example of how the quiz looks like. The purpose of these courses is, of these quizzes is to help you not test your knowledge, but just as a method for you to learn more. And also a very crucial element of the e-courses are the forum discussions. Each of the modules has discussion questions. I would propose when you answer the questions, it is necessary for you to answer all the questions. However, the best practice is when you add a new discussion topic or when you answer your question to include your name, the name of the forum, and answer all the questions in one thread. So not answer all the questions individually, but open only one thread, one topic, and then you can address each of these questions in that thread only. What will your tasks be for this course? The first one is reading the materials. If you watch the video presentations while you read the materials, will be really helpful for you. Answer and pass the quizzes, and also provide responses to the questions in forum discussions. In order to exchange with colleagues, it will be really good if you read what your colleagues respond to the forum discussions and also provide your opinions and exchange ideas and thoughts on the same matter. After you successfully finish all your tasks, the evaluation will be carried out by the gender expert, and at the end, if you do successfully all your tasks, you will be certificated. Regarding the organizational issues, I am the course coordinator, Simra. You can email me whenever you have an issue with the course, if you cannot access the course, if you have technical issues, you can contact me, and then I will contact our technical support person, which is Branislav Jovanovic. And for all the course content and thematic issues, you can contact the course facilitator, Ms. Kristina Vasileva, at kristina@sdc.com.mk. Thank you all for your time. If you have any questions, please do write them in the chat and I'll be gladly answering them. Any questions? Okay, then if there are no questions, I will be following up with an email and instructions on how to log in into the course. And also I will be sending a link from the webinar for all of you that didn't have a good connection and couldn't follow us through the entire webinar. Just a moment, I'm seeing that Modesta is typing something. Oh, okay. Thank you all, and I wish you a very successful and fruitful learning journey.